Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And once again, I'm here to give the people what they want. Every now and again, you gotta double back. Do a daily double, if you will. Yes, this is the Season 1 finale of Spy X Family, Project W.E.B, What If Loid Forger Was Spider-Man Noir, Season 1, Part 8. Now, as always, when we get to the end of a project, it's always customary to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has been following this series from the very beginning, and everyone who's now made it to the conclusion. Now, if you don't know, Spy X Family has been greenlit for a Season 2, as well as a movie, but we don't know when the release date of these projects are going to be. So, while we will someday come back to this world, I don't know when it will be or if it'll be anytime soon. But until then, for now, as always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel, who supports PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, and who's been on the ride with Anime X Marvel Phase 2 of the Spider-Verse. As always, you make the channel grow, you make the core grow. So with that out of the way, let's get into the Season 1 finale. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. When it comes to spies, or the world of espionage, it takes more than cool gadgets, some excellent martial arts, and just trying to complete the objective. More goes into it than that. The true mark of a spy is to be someone who, quite frankly, never exists. Someone who is everywhere but nowhere at the same time. A spy is supposed to be someone who can blend seamlessly into society, to slip in and out. Among all of the metahumans, all of the powers, everything, this is a spy's greatest asset. To be able to be plopped into any country, any situation, any scenario, and to be able to just move seamlessly, as if you were always there. So effortlessly that no one questions your existence, and then just as easily move out. You don't stay for too long. You become nothing more but a pleasant memory to everyone that meets you. And to those who happen to cross you, well, you make sure that you're the last person that they ever cross. For Agent Twilight, aka Loid Forger, aka Spider-Man, this was something he had learned to master. But even still, there were always wrinkles in the plan. That being in the form of next-door neighbors. In this era, it wasn't uncommon for women to gossip. As such, your reputation was always on the line. That's the one thing a lot of people forget. It doesn't matter how charming you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how well you present yourself when ultimately your reputation is ruined. Ask the many of failed politicians in the world, and not an ounce of money, not 1 cent, could ever replace having a good reputation. And for a spy, whatever persona you take on, whatever it might be, you want to live to your reputation. If your reputation doesn't match what you're selling, no one will believe you. And rather than blending in as well as you might think, you stand out like a sore thumb. For example, a man who claims to be loving and caring yet secretly abuses his family. Once everyone catches on to it, it doesn't matter how many platitudes the man tries to put on. It doesn't matter how many airs he tries to show off. In the end, everyone can see right through him. In his mind, he thinks he's completely clothed, but actually, he's naked to the entire world. That's why, when going undercover, when using a family, the family image is most important above all. Whether it be a situation that is or isn't in your control does not matter. What matters is making sure that the family is presentable at all times. The phrase happy wife, happy life can be applied to this scenario. You see, Yor was feeling inadequate. She was still lingering on in her thoughts about Fiona, her own insecurities still getting the best of her, and it was showing in her behavior, which the neighbors, elderly women, could pick up on easily. As such, it didn't take long for whispers and murmurs to start going about through the housing complex that potentially the Forger family, maybe there was trouble in paradise. Was Loid stepping out on his wife in secret? Was he abandoning his family and his responsibilities? Of course not, quite the opposite. But still, that image, that tarnishment was all that was needed to turn a small snowball into an avalanche of miscommunication. As such, Loid took it upon himself to smooth things over with Yor. That night, he took her out to dinner, the two of them alone. He was going to put on the charm, as it were. It wasn't anything uncommon for Loid. He had done this time and time again. It wasn't anything he hadn't done before. How many women had he used these lines on? How many times had he swooned their heart? It was nothing but a science, but now this time something was different. The words, they were harder to come by. Each time Loid spoke, he felt a hot coal that was almost developing in his throat. Why was he feeling this way? Why were his palms sweating? Sure, he was supposed to put on the act of an earnest husband, but for some reason this didn't feel right. It almost felt like lying? No. Spies lie all the time. This is no different. Loid had lied countless times. He told so many lies he couldn't keep track of them all half the time. I mean, just waking up was a lie. The life he lived was a lie. None of this was real. Every single moment. And yet, why did it bother him now? When he saw the look in her eyes, for some reason, it affected him. No, he can't let the objective change. But still, right now, the only thing that mattered was a man comforting his wife. And Loid was going to do just that. Of course, for Yor, she was moved by Loid's words, so much so that the woman became overwhelmed. Loid felt his spider sense going off, but he wasn't sure why, and he wasn't sure why he was flying in the air either. That's funny. Why had everything gone muffled? Why was he backflipping? And why were the people cheering for him? He couldn't hear or understand anything that was happening, except all of a sudden, his vision started to get blurred. Everything started to go into a haze. A swelling started to form on his chin. Wait a second. Had he been... Wait. He got kicked? He got kicked in the face. Hold on. Loid would replay everything that happened. He was talking to Yor. He grabbed her hands, assured her everything would be fine. She turned red. She drank more of her alcohol. She started to shake, and then she kicked him in the face. The posture was good. It kind of reminded Loid of that wrestler he had watched on TV that night. He had been flipping through the channels, and it was some guy, I think his last name was Michaels or whatever. It was his finishing move, or something he called it. Sweet chin music? You could almost say that's exactly what Loid got hit with. And he didn't hear music, but his bell had been rung as a stream of blood started to fall out of his mouth. His legs were starting to shake. His knees were weak, arms were heavy. If he didn't know better, he'd think he might start vomiting the spaghetti he had. No, but he wasn't nervous. Wait, was he going unconscious? What the hell? I mean, given his strength, how was he falling out right now? Was she some kind of assassin? No. There's no way. He just let his guard down. Oh, look. Everything's turning black. Loid would find himself awakening not too long later on a park bench, his head resting on Yor's lap. But the melody he could hear, it was a familiar one. A melody he hadn't heard in a long time. It took him back to a place. A young boy resting in his bed, a mother comforting him during the stormy nights. He remembered her face. It was like that of an angel. Mother. The vision would quickly fade away as Loid would find himself resting in the arms of Yor. Yor couldn't help but smile through the tears. She felt like a failure. Not only as a mother, but as a wife, as a person. Truth be told, she never wanted the life that she lived. Circumstances led her to where she was, joining the Widow Project, being caught up in this situation, always being on the run, living the life of an assassin. But then there was Loid and Anya. They had given her a meaning in her life, far more than anything that she could have ever have imagined. All the same, she still felt as though she didn't deserve it. And now, because of her actions, her family might be in harm's way. In the midst of it all, though, Loid would reassure Yor. He was happy to have her as a wife, and Anya was happy to have her as a mother. Their family was perfect just the way it was, and he didn't want it to change. And you know what was funny? When he said those words, that feeling, that sensation he had, it wasn't around him. Almost as if he meant every single word. Of course, in the meantime, life would continue. Loid was supposed to go pick up Anya from school. It was the day where the parents of the imperial scholars were going to be meeting. And for Loid, this was supposed to be the opportunity that he could get close to Damien, the son of Donovan Desmond, his target. However, the streets of Ostania had been run rampant as a superpowered being known as the Rhino had been running loose. It took all of Loid's strength to finally hold off the beast of a man as they went crashing down underground into a sewer pipe. As he had finally managed to wrangle down the large beast, as he started to fall in and out of consciousness, Loid would pick up on what the big man was saying. He was talking about the big man. The big man. Was this the famed big man of crime of Ostania? If it was, this could be Loid's chance. A chance to finally put an end to all of this nonsense. He listened intently to what the Rhino said. And, seeing as how he had some time, he figured it was time to pay a certain someone a visit. Inside of a tall business building in Ostania, Hammerhead stood in front of the desk of his boss. "It's good to have you back, sir. I see I've been dearly missed. I go off on a business trip. I even take some time for a vacation. And I come back to find that a lot's changed in our country. Not just politically, but when it comes to business. Seems we have a bit of a pest problem, don't you think?" "I do, boss. I've been having men hired to get on that as soon as possible." The doors burst open as the figure in black stood on the ceiling. Hammerhead would attempt to charge, but he would be stopped as the chair would turn. A man well dressed, although his skin almost a marbly white, and his hair having matched the pigment of snow. It seems the guest of honor has taken it upon himself to enter into my humble abode. I do apologize. Spider-Man, is that right? You'll have to forgive me. Mr. Lincoln, or should I say, the big man. I've been called many things in my life, Spider-Man. I've gone by many names, but there is one that I prefer. Spider-Man would lunge towards Mr. Lincoln, only to be backhanded and thrown to the ground. Moving with a deceptive speed, Loid found the man looming over him, his foot planted firmly on his chest. Those that cross me only refer to me as Tombstone. Loid could see a pool table next to him. He used his webs to grab one of the pool balls, attempting to fling it towards his head, only for Mr. Lincoln to catch it and crush it in his hands. Tombstone. If you'll settle down and just listen, I'll teach you the facts of life. Tombstone would remove his foot from Spider-Man's chest, Hammerhead still standing on guard, having both of his brass knuckles on and ready for a fight. Spider-Man standing on guard as well, but Tombstone not paying him any mind as he looked out towards the window. The sun just beginning to set on that gorgeous day in Ostania. I know you think that you're doing this city a service, and I can assure you, the superpowered criminals you take down, you do indeed do a good service. But let's make one thing very clear. No one man can thwart all of crime. That is until you came onto the scene in my absence. You've been a pretty busy boy, haven't you? You took down Campbell's organization, and you've managed to clean up most of the streets. It's just something that comes with the territory. Yes, I'm sure it does, I'm sure. But there is one thing I've taken notice of. The landscape between the East and the West is ever changing, and it seems you've even been playing a role in that, in saving a foreign prime minister. I'm just doing what anyone would do, but why do you care? Are you looking to be the next leader of this country? Leader, no. There are some roles that I don't need to play, but it is tempting. No, you see, with all of these elements going about, you've actually made my business very profitable. While you've been dealing with the riffraff here and there, you've allowed my men to go unnoticed. Petty crime, things of that nature. Running exactly as I planned it to. Did you enjoy your fight with the Rhino? I figured he'd give you a bit of a challenge, but in the end, the good hero of Ostania would prevail. The Rhino? Wait, the superpowered criminals. They've been... Yes. I hire a couple of people who can make some good weapons. I hire a couple of freaks, metahumans, whatever I can find that I can throw at you. You could say it's like homework. Keeps you busy. And while I've been busy running around this city, you, precisely, I've been running my organization well. But now that you're here, the way I see it, there's no need for us to be enemies. After all, I know that this isn't your real home. Now is it? What are you talking about? I'm a smart man, Spider-Man. I don't have all the facts, but I've been studying you, and here's what I know. I know for a fact that whoever you are, whoever you might be, you are not originally from Ostania. No. I've had people analyzing your fighting style. You have certain tricks and skills that you wouldn't have learned from here. But I know that they are definitely prominent in the West. And just what are you getting at? You're from Westalis. I'm guessing either a refugee, maybe a former agent, something along those lines. You are not originally from Ostania. So why are you here? With your powers, with your skills, you could easily go for assassination, maybe of even our political party's leader, Donovan Desmond. But you haven't made a move against him. So maybe you have other motives. In the end of the day, it's obvious that I'm not the person that you're after. You're after something else. So, why don't you just look the other way? Leave my men and my organization alone. I'll even compensate you well. Whatever your objective, whatever your goal is, you can be the hero that everyone thinks you are, as long as you look away, whenever and wherever I tell you to. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Lincoln, but in my line of work, I will never look the other way. I figured you'd say that. The door would burst open as police guards would immediately rush the room. Spider-Man would quickly flee the scene. One thing was now for certain. It wasn't just dealing with the secret police or even with Hydra. It was also the threat of the big man, Mr. Lincoln, aka Tombstone, the kingpin of crime of Ostania. All of these forces, they felt as though they were closing in on Loid all at once. How many more could he handle? How much could he take? But this is why he donned the mask. Why he gave up a long time ago. He was going to protect this world. In that moment, he thought about Anya. He thought about Yor. To keep them safe. To keep everyone safe. He would be whatever he needed to be. A war was coming. And Loid was going to be ready. It didn't take too long for him to arrive at Eden College. He went to go and find Anya, and to his surprise, she was speaking with Damien. Loid would take use of the situation, as he would go to the young boy and kneel down, apologizing for a certain incident that had occurred a while ago, an incident involving Anya and Damien playing a little game, a game called What Did the Five Fingers Say to the Face? In either regard, Loid was definitely putting on the charm, and even more so when the fated moment arrived. Loid Forager came face to face with Donovan Desmond. It was easy to see that Donovan was observing him as much as Loid was making his own observations. Loid did his best to play the role of the humble man who apologized mightily for the actions of his daughter and for the inconvenience that it might have caused the young lord. Of course, Damien would brush everything off. He wasn't angry about it anymore, and Donovan believed that they had gotten past such things. But, to their surprise, there would be another party at play. A young boy with red hair would rush over to Anya. Hey, you're the girl that saved me. I'm sorry. You left before I had a chance to properly introduce myself. Harry? A voice would come from behind. An older man with a darker shade of red hair would appear as well. Harry, you know you're not supposed to just run off like that. I'm sorry, Father, but I had to say thank you. This is the girl that saved my life. Well, her and her papa. Oh, I see. You're here? Well, Mr. Desmond, we can't all stay cooped up in our offices now. I couldn't miss this day for Harry, not for anything. And I imagine you're here for your boys as well? I'm here officially on business. So, this young man and his daughter, they saved your son's life, if I am to be correct. Yeah, Harry was having some therapy at the pool in the local hospital, and well, a situation occurred and he almost drowned. This young girl went in after him, and then her father followed suit. Things could have been really dire had he not been saved. So truly I am thankful. It seems you have a good egg after all. Thank you, Donovan would say to young Anya. Anya, being a lot fearful of the situation, would bow in respect. The three older men would now all stand across from one another. I didn't get your name. My name is Loid. Loid Forger. Lord Forger. The name's Norman. Norman Osborn. Nice to make your acquaintance. Say, if you're not too busy, my wife and I were going to be going out to have dinner. Perhaps young Anya here and yourself would like to accompany us. I would ask if your wife would like to as well. Oh, she's at home at the moment. All I have to do is make a quick call and we can make the arrangements. Say, Donovan, why don't we make this a group affair? Would you like to come with us? Unfortunately, I have other business that I need to attend to, so I'll have to take a rain check. But if ever another situation were to be open, do keep me in mind. Osborn, Forger. With that, Donovan Desmond would take his leave, as Loid and Anya would as well, and Norman along with his son. Three great powers, all with their own plans and motivations. In this world, many people hide who they are through lies, tricks, deceit. In the world of spies, it is a never-ending cycle. However, in the end, the one who is the best, the one who is the last one left standing, is the one who will shape the destiny of the world. Who is Loid Forger? He is a psychiatrist, a family man, a loving husband and father. Who is Twilight? One of the greatest spies that the West has ever seen. A man that has never failed a mission and does not intend to do so. Who is Spider-Man? To some, he is a hero. To others, a menace. To some, he is a creature of the night, and to others, he is the Dark Protector. They are all of these things, and yet they are none. They are three, but they are one. No matter what, they will be whatever they need to be, whatever the world dictates that they be, for peace and for prosperity. They will continue on. He will continue on. Loid Forager, Twilight, Spider-Man, the Watchful Eye, the Guardian of Ostania, the Hero, the Spy, and the Father. After washing the dishes, as Anya had been tucked into bed, and Yor followed suit not too long after, the window next to their home would open as a dark figure would quickly slip out. The man in black made his way to a bar. It was a small occupation. It didn't stand out all too well on the streets of Ostania. As he made his way inside, just as he had time and time again, it was an empty establishment, save for an older woman who stood at the edge of the bar, cleaning out a few glasses, as the man in black sat down to have a drink. It seems like you've been having quite a day. You could say that. I'll have a whiskey on the rocks. Sure thing. So what can I do for you on this fine evening? Although I must ask, who am I talking to? Am I talking to the Father, the Spy, or the Hero? Does it really matter at this point? Well, I have a pretty good idea that right now the person I'm talking to is none of those things. So, who am I talking to? You're talking to a boy that wants revenge. I figured. You wish to get your hands on the one that killed your mother. It's said that you're psychic, that you may have the capabilities of helping me find the one. So can you? Maybe I can. But tell me, would you hunt him down at any cost without fail? Even if it destroyed you, if it had to be done, even if it cost you them? What? I could tell you where he is. I could give you his location right now, but tell me, what if I told you that if you left this bar tonight, if you searched for him, if you went to go and get your revenge, you would lose everything? I have nothing to lose. You may be good at lying to others, but you cannot lie to me. And besides, I cannot tell you such things because right now there are other matters that need your attention. Oh boys, an older man and a younger man, dressed almost similarly, would sit on either side of him. Loid could feel his spider sense going off, and he could tell it was coming from them, but it wasn't just that. He could feel their spider sense. There was a young man with blonde hair. He was smaller, maybe in high school. Although, oddly enough, he and the boy looked kind of similar. If Loid didn't know any better, he would think he were looking at a younger version of himself. And then there was the other man, close to around his age, darker, all black hair, bags under the eyes. I'm glad to see that you didn't decide to come out guns blazing, the older man would say. You didn't give off any intent to kill, or any dangerous intent, either one of you. There's no point being around the bush. You can obviously feel what I am, and I can feel who you are. So just what in the hell is going on here? The older man would take a sip from his drink that he had ordered as well, the younger man just drinking water as he listened intently. Loid Forager, this is going to take a lot for you to understand. but we're not from around here. My name is Peter Parker. My name's Miyuki Shirogane. And I can assure you, you are not the one and only Spider-Man. I always figured as much. So, what country are you from? Westalis, Ostania, somewhere to the north, or maybe from the south? Try a different universe. This concludes Spy X Family Project W.E.B. What If Loid Forager Was Spider-Man Noir? Season 1, Part 8, the Season 1 finale. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who has been following this series from the very beginning, as you have now reached the conclusion. And stay tuned for everything else that we're going to be having coming out now and in the future here on Power Core Productions and Podcastings. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington, signing off, and I'll see you next time.